are you?
I'm amazing. How
Oh,
are you?
good. Fabulous. I'm so excited to talk
Yay!
today. I think today's episode is going to be exciting. And thank you for coming back
Informative.
after last week's episode because I'm aware that some people might have been a little rubbed the
A
wrong way,
little
maybe
tickled.
triggered. I don't know.
A little tickled,
But
had a little itch.
yeah, so
Okay.
whatever. We appreciate you that are back.
Yes. Welcome to
Yes.
it. Yay,
Yay!
yay,
Thank you for
yay.
being here. So this week we are talking about how to remove the blocks to your dreams. And
Ah,
boy, yeah, woo!
yay.
There's a lot to talk about on this, a lot to unpack, I feel like, because without hope, without dreams, without something out there in the ethers that we're constantly working towards, it's like, what's the
Mm-hmm.
point? What is the point? And if you're
Oh,
feeling like you have dreams that you've been working towards and you've been trying certain things and you're feeling stuck, this is kind of the podcast for you. We're talking to you
oh,
because I have been
totally.
that person before. Dina, I don't know if you've been that person before.
I have. And
Yeah,
sometimes I still am.
yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example.
Okay, please do.
So we can start off. So I love animals. I love
Mm-hmm.
horses. I love dogs. And in my brain, eventually at some point, I see myself, I want to have this big, beautiful farm with horses, plural,
Mm-hmm.
and dogs, and like just, room, country, space, right? With a wife and the whole thing. So in my brain, I see it. I'm like, "Ooh, that sounds fabulous." But also at the same time, I get this little tiny, like stressy little thing that comes up in me that I can tell is holding me back a little bit. So
Uh-huh.
you want your dreams to be wide open for you to pursue. You want to feel like there's nothing in the way. So this little feeling that I have, I had to figure out what that was. And I realized that I have enjoyed being so free and
Mm-hmm.
traveling and being able to go wherever we need to go for this show, or that my writing takes me, or travel with my wife,
Mm-hmm.
my girlfriend, whatever. Um, Animals feel like they're going to tie me down because I have had animals in the past. And when I am a mama to an animal, I mean, I am all up in that, and
Mm-hmm.
it stresses me out to leave them. It takes me a long time to find people that I trust to take care of them. So that's where I'm coming from with this.
Mm-hmm.
So in my brain, I had to sit down one day and actually say to myself, how can I see this working out so that I can, continue to pursue my dreams and not let anything get in the way? So what I figured was, wouldn't it be great if at some point I live on a property that either I have a little guest house on the property, or next door there is also someone else who has animals and loves animals, and we help each other out. Like, it's really as simple as
Yeah.
that. But in my brain,
Like
I
an
never thought of
incredible
it that way.
couple. Yeah, like an incredible couple that's always home and they
Yeah.
help out on the farm or whenever. And so you always have that. So I'm curious, did the first thing when you went to go write down pop into your head that you were scared shitless?
It was just all of the things that were going to keep me from being able to do the other things that I want to do, because animals feel like a huge responsibility.
Okay, I understand. And this is Dina being a friend and doing intuitive work in front of everyone so we can put you in the pan. I'm going to
What's
ask you
new?
again. Was there a point where you said, "I'm scared shitless of getting every single thing I want, being super fucking happy, being in love, being successful enough to own a farm, having
Oh,
loving animals." Okay, but it does in a
well,
way because
yes,
how we block
yes, and
ourselves
no. Yes,
is by saying yes, but
yes,
yes,
but.
instead of saying yes, and we do the yeah, buts, the what ifs.
Well, I'm not scared
Yeah,
of the
but what if?
love, but I am scared of
Yes,
feeling like
the
I,
responsibility
I
sucked
like to
in.
feel free always. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Sagittarius girl. I want to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fence me in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't
Um,
cage me. I'm an
don't
Aries
fence
and I'm
me in.
Aquarius rising. I will
Uh-uh.
fuck you up. I will
Yeah,
rip that fence down. No, no,
exactly.
siree, Bob.
Don't do
Mm-mm.
it. I have to feel
Yes.
free. So if it's a relationship, but I wasn't even picturing the relationship in this way. I feel like I'm not going to be in a relationship that doesn't make me feel free. But the animals, You know what I mean? It's like, that's what
Yes.
really
Okay,
was
but what
like,
I'm getting
ooh,
from you, and I
yeah.
hate to do this to you, but
Oh,
why not?
hell.
What I'm getting from you is
Bring it, sister.
your if we last week were talking about everything we have and that we need is inside of us,
Yep.
right? So for you, you thankfully went back in and solved it, right, with your narrative on a
Yes.
false narrative of it all, right? So you already were married together, busy, blah blah blah. You built everything was good, and
Well,
then
yeah.
you, I know, and then we as human beings, we have a tendency to do this, and I get it, it's reality, but why the fuck would we go in and start to put reality into our dream? Okay, well, I want to be able to travel. I want, well, that's obvious, because that's why we have that much money, to help people, to hire people, to have people come and help us, right? So in my mind, I get that we have to think of every little thing, but in our old framing, right,
Yep.
that is our parents talking to us going, think of a backup career, that's too hard, oh that's too much, that sounds crazy, what
Yes.
are you doing?
You're
So
right.
really what thank you for saying that, but really what I'm saying to you and to me, because we're all learning at the same time,
Uh-huh.
the number one thing, because I'm not emotionally attached to your narrative, right, is the number one thing that I saw is I got your fear of being trapped down over your happiness of anything.
Right. Well,
You
yeah,
see
and
how we
that's
gaslight
well,
ourselves
because
into
I
that?
yes, well, exactly, and that's why I use it as an example because,
Mm-hmm.
in listening to Abraham Hicks too, and it's like, oh, you're not supposed to, you're just supposed to find the feeling. That's what they always say is like picture the
Mm-hmm.
dream and
Mm-hmm.
find the feeling of it. Well, you can't do that if there's a little block sitting there going, but. So
For
that's why
sure.
I had to sit down. I had to, in the morning pages and journal and
Mm-hmm.
journal and journal and just write it out to like, how are a few
But
circumstances, situations I can see it because that allows me to find the feeling of it and go, okay, now I feel like
totally.
there's nothing in the way. I am wide open to this dream coming into my life.
Yes. And all of you that know us well enough now and know Ashley well enough now, you know Ashley well enough to know that when her triggers, and we all do this, get up, your tone changes and
Uh-huh.
your passion with it
Oh,
changes.
yes.
So I think to remove the building blocks with things is to getting to the crux of why till this day does it still make you feel like you have no control over having control. Do you understand what I mean? So like you'll not have the animal to take away. I love animals, but I don't want the responsibility. I'm not saying you're never going to have them. I'm just giving this as an example. So it's like, why automatically do you go to that?
I don't know. I have
I
no
know. So
idea.
that's what I'm saying is we have to figure out. So where is it that you feel trapped when you were growing up? Because this helps all of us to remove blocks,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
for me in my household, I didn't know other people ate other things than ravioli or lasagna on Sundays. It just didn't occur to me because I'm an Italian household
Mm-hmm.
and we always did, right?
Chef
So then
Boyardee.
for years and years, right? For years and years and years, that's all I did because I didn't know I could do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it where you didn't, a time in your life where you didn't have control over your freedom that makes you feel so uncomfortable? Is it a combination of not being free to be a lesbian, not being free to be who you are in your own town, not being free to be who you are in front of your own family and religious beliefs? Or I'm not talking about your specific family, I'm talking just in general, right? So if you were to say all of that to me, my first trigger would be, yo, great. And then who's going to be the one to take care of all the animals? Me. Right. Because, but I don't care
Yeah.
because I'm always home.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, like, but then I'm sure I would find other issues about how am I going to pay for the vet or blah, blah, blah. See, but do you see how we can all go
Yes.
in and start? So, what I'm
Yes. All
saying
that.
is, this is so important to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge. Why do we point out the yeah buts first? Why
I
can't
don't
we
know.
revel in the oh my god, the
I don't
wife
know.
and the
That's why I'm
house and
here
the
getting answers
dogs
from
and the
you.
right? But I'm just saying because the fear of getting so happy and getting everything you want and the idea of fucking losing it, it's almost easier not to have it.
Of losing it. See, I've never considered losing it though.
I know, but I don't think subconsciously you know. Meaning, I'm talking about the whole happy ending, right? So it's like a lot of my clients will say, "Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
then I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop."
Oh, yeah, no.
or I'm waiting for that. I'm not saying that you
Mhm.
subconsciously do that. I think that there's a part of all of us where
Yeah.
when we get something really nice, we don't know how long it's going to last and we don't want to get too comfortable in it because we don't want to fall too hard down when it falls down.
Yeah, I get that.
Right? And
Sure.
so I'm just saying it's so interesting that you went that way because that's the responsible you and that's the way
Mhm.
you used to think. But what if a
Right.
new part of you started thinking differently and knows that we're open to creative solutions? And when you're open to creative solutions, creative solutions will come for all of these things, and we have faith and we trust. And then people go, "You're fucking crazy. You're woo woo. You've gone too far. You have to be reality." I get that. But reality is what? Your reality and my reality. So I can gaslight myself there, or I can take myself there and with Glenda the Good Witch and go in a lovely, very amazing way. You see what I'm saying? No,
Yes.
you don't. I went too
Kind
woo
of.
woo and I went too
You
fast.
well, no, 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 I just no. I'm trying to pick the parts out of that that I feel resonate with
Okay,
me.
cool. I get that.
Yep. So, what was the question?
The question is why can't you sit in the yumminess of the
Oh,
goodness before you start pointing out what needs to be fixed?
well, I would say that that is what I'm learning now. That is what I
Mhm.
am practicing now, and that's why I sat
Mhm.
down and tried
Mhm.
to start seeing situations that make sense, that feel differently to me instantly.
Yeah.
I don't know where that comes from, and you're right.
No, and I guess I'm not giving the question right. So when I'm in my brain, sometimes I think you're in here with me and you already know what's going on. I guess what I'm saying is it's a question that we should navigate, we should excavate through, maybe look through um for yourself in the future. Ask yourself, do a course correction when, no matter what circumstances, meaning you, me, or whatever, we will automatically go to something. Why is that our automatic? Is that a safe thing? Is that a correction thing? Is that because we've always had to just take care of ourselves and we haven't learned to let other people take care of us so we don't feel part of the team
Yes,
yet?
that must be
There we
it.
go. Yes.
Well, when you brought that up, it didn't even occur to me that way. That's
Mm-hmm.
so funny because you
Mm-hmm.
said, "What in your childhood?" And I went, "Well, nothing. I mean, what was sitting in my brain was just the last angel baby fur child I had that
Yeah.
lived to almost 17, but in her latter years, it's like I felt like I couldn't leave. And when I
Yeah.
did, she didn't eat. So I'd be gone for 3 days and she
Mm.
would starve, and I'd feel like I
Oh.
have to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's where my head was going with it, is I can't leave because I get so attached to them, but that's my own
Mhm.
codependence.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, I think what you brought up is true, is that when I was younger, I had a lot of responsibility. I was saddled
Mhm.
with watching after my younger brothers and sisters a lot.
Well,
So,
and
or
so
the two
this is
younger brothers for
important.
sure.
Yes, but this is important to look out for all of
Hmm.
us because it is so important. See, and this is why I love having conversations
Yeah,
and thank you for being so open and receiving a lot of
sure.
my shit on the for the sacrifice of other people to learn. Thank you.
Hashtag free
But
therapy for me too. Like I always say.
right? So, but what I'm saying, because it comes with a little intuition, right? But what
Hmm.
I'm saying is that that same kind of energy, if I'm with you and I'm
Hmm.
your partner, right?
Hmm.
And you are adamant about the way you want to do something, I may feel like I don't have a choice in it because you already
You're
have it
right.
all done and thought out.
You're right. You're
And
right.
so, what I'm saying is, you're still approaching these subjects with that same kind of intensity, right? That responsibility. Like, you have to figure this out. This is your, who said?
Yeah.
That's the old way
Right.
of that was your responsibility then.
Right.
Now you get to decide what you do and what you don't want to do. We don't have to stay stuck in that. You know what I mean? So, like, I'll give you a for instance, and this one is so fucking inappropriate. Trigger warning
Uh
all
oh.
the way.
Uh oh.
So when I was young, I was improperly touched often by
Hmm.
random adults, and I cannot tell you how many doctors approached me in inappropriate ways, gynecologists approached me in inappropriate ways while I was down there getting exams and saying inappropriate things. I never felt like I had the right to speak up, and I
Hmm.
felt like I couldn't say anything because it was either my doctor or something, and I needed something from
Oof.
them.
Hmm.
And then, therefore, I'm like you in the same way for completely different reasons.
Mhm.
I don't want anyone coming because I don't want to have to deal with your advancements. I don't want to have to deal with,
Yes.
the way you, because it's not that I don't know how to say no. And now I know how to say no as a bitch, but I don't like being put in that uncomfortable position. But then what I've learned now, I miss out on so much because of the fear of the assumption that they're going to do to me what everybody else did, and the assumption that now as an adult I don't know how to handle myself. And so I've had to reteach myself that I can speak up for myself. It doesn't have to be weird. But try telling little Dina that. She doesn't know that because, and so sometimes I find myself literally, I was inappropriately approached here by a doctor, like whatever, and I found myself almost not going to get the service that I needed because I didn't want him hitting on me. And I was
Mhm.
like, and then the other day I go, wait, what the fuck? I go, girl, no, he works for you and he can
Mhm.
get in trouble. Like,
Right.
why the fuck? I had to literally talk to myself in the car.
Yeah.
And then I decided how I was going to go approach it. Right. And so I just think for you, once we become aware, little Dina was just going to avoid it. And then I even texted my ex and said why I was, and he goes, yeah, maybe it's better not to go. He was not the right person to call because he only encouraged avoiding that scenario. Hence, that was
Mhm.
my whole relationship, right? The whole relationship.
Mhm.
If you don't talk about it, it didn't exist. So then we don't, and then just go home and then go back to the mountains and not, but no, I had to deal with the icky, and now I know
Mhm.
why I had gained so much weight and I had been through all of those things because that was me avoiding all of those scenarios, narratives, people, come ons, things. And then now that I'm thinner, those things are still there waiting for me. And I still have to remove those blocks and I still have to do the work. So I could have grown a million times and still just sort of grazed over that and have to go back and sort of do some touch up, some reteaching and some things like that. So it's an interesting thing. I just want everyone to be aware of, because I know subconsciously you weren't thinking of it, but intuitively it was the first thing I picked up from you,
Uh
was what I said about the responsibility.
yes. Yes, cuz I feel
Hmm.
like what you just touched on could be another whole podcast.
That's me.
Completely.
So, and that's
Yeah.
completely different. Well, I'm saying, but do you
Yeah.
see how we all as
Yeah.
people can approach things in very different ways and have no idea why? You're coming at it from a way of responsibility. I'm coming at it from a way of being too vulnerable and being inappropriately. You know what I mean?
No, no, no. My point was that I think you're going general with blocks in people. I was talking about blocks specifically to dreams. You're talking about when you have to have
Oh, sorry.
conversations and there was a
Hmm.
block there. So I was waiting for you to tie it back and I was
Oh,
following you and I was going, land the
sorry, we
plane,
can
Dina. Where
edit
are we
that
going?
out. No, no, we can edit that. I didn't. Okay,
but,
so for the dreams,
but,
no. So what
no,
I'm
no.
saying is, my dream for myself is that I no longer have to have fear of people and men and situations like that, and that I
Ah,
can speak
I
up for
see.
myself.
I
Do you
see.
see what I'm saying? So, like, I now have gone through the whole thing because I can't get someone to do it for me. I have to do the work.
Of
No one's going to
course.
go and stick up for me. No one's going to
Yeah.
go and yell at that person. No one's going to go and protect us, right? So, my full dream is that I'm strong enough to protect myself. And
Yeah.
sometimes I forget that,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
I have to remind myself. And it can always be done with respect,
Yeah. Well, and I
like,
have
oh,
the
thank you
same
for.
thing. I have the same
Mm-hmm.
thing, and you know that, and I know you know that intuitively, bitch. But I know why you bring these things up sometimes. But yeah, it's
Sorry.
like no, but no. And I've had sexually inappropriate behavior in my childhood, and a person coming on to me that shouldn't have, and the same thing. I absolutely, when somebody is nice to me and I want a good relationship with them, if they do anything that feels out of the line, inappropriate, then my walls go up immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no,
Yeah.
they only
And do you
want
see
one
how
thing.
that blocks us from getting our dreams? Because anytime someone's nice, our alert goes off. They want something. What do they want? Oh my God, they're coming for us. They're gonna.
Well, not just
It's a matter of
nice. No,
time.
they
Uh,
no, they have to do something a little bit like I don't do well with like you like to send me sexual funny things and I don't do well with
huh.
that because I've
Okay.
been through a bad sexual experience in
Yeah.
my childhood, and if we have a relationship that is on a different level. I feel like that
Uh-huh.
feels a little bit weird to me sometimes. I've
Okay.
told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
it's cool. I'm just using it as an
Yeah, no, and I've
example.
gotten better about not sending because I
Thank you.
listen.
Because
You're
I'm like, I
welcome.
don't know about that, but it's
See,
weird.
but
It's
I
like,
grew up in an environment where that was funny.
right,
And the more inappropriate, my dad still
right.
sends me that
Which
shit.
is, I can't even,
And so
I
I've
can't
had to
even.
learn, right? So the fact that I have
Yeah,
loving and kind friends that can tell me in a kind way where I don't
yes,
receive it as rejection and insulting and all of that, then I will listen, right? But
right.
before that was where I came from until I learned different.
Right, because you would ask me like, "Don't you
Mhm.
always do this with your friend so and so?" And I'm like, We really don't." And we're super close. And I remember you kind of looking at me like, "Whoa."
Yeah. I'm just so listen, I'm
Yeah,
learning so much because I am like a seeker of information, but I love to see how friendships are and the way people are. Listen, the number one thing for me, I think, especially with dreams and goals and things like that, is make sure the people around you are supportive of you. It doesn't matter what you want to do, but sometimes I feel a lot of people talk us out of things, or they'll go, oh, because they care. Well, that's going to be so hard, or how are you going to pay for it? Or I'm just so worried about you going by yourself. And they mean well, don't get me wrong, but they're coming
yes,
from their history and their fear and their stuff, right? So we will go outside of ourselves again, looking for confirmation bias until we find it, until somebody says exactly what we want them to say so that it confirms, so that we can keep moving forward. What we're saying is learn to build your own blocks, right? And learn to go inward before we go out for all that confirmation bias on things that we're dreaming of doing or wanting to be doing next in our lives, or that we've been thinking about doing, or somebody who wants to travel or wants to go. How many people will call me and they say, I want to do this. My husband thinks it's so stupid, or my parents think I'm ridiculous, or da da da. And then you could hear things in people's voices of they're like, yeah, and then they're already defeated before they've even started.
well, exactly. And I've learned to stop going outside myself for advice on stuff like that. It's like if it's something that I
Yes.
want to do, I don't like to poll a lot of people because then their thoughts get into my head, and then I'm gonna,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter. It's my choice. These
Yeah.
things, some
So
of these
I
things,
I
but
wrote down some suggestions. Okay.
okay.
So identify the block. Start by identifying what is preventing you from reaching your dreams. This could be fear, self-doubt, lack of resources, or anything else that's holding you back. Okay. Number
Okay.
two, challenge negative thoughts. Once you have identified the blocks, any negative thoughts or belief that are preventing you from moving forward, ask yourself if these thoughts are based in reality, or are they just limiting beliefs,
Very good.
right?
So I
And
I
so,
oh,
no, go on.
I wrote some notes down too.
Okay, great. Love to
And
hear
I
them.
well, because I want to give some examples of things that have worked for me, and I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you how different the feeling was for them.
Okay,
Like
great.
for example, I wrote down, can you imagine being in that situation? Can you visualize yourself in that situation? Can you see it working? I always try to do that. And hence
Mm-hmm.
my example of what wasn't working for me. But I have seen myself, and I believe in vision boards big time. I'm always
Oh,
creating new
totally.
vision boards of things so that
Uh-huh.
I can look at them and feel them and get excited about it. And a few years ago, in 2020, when we were in lockdown, I put a big vision board up in my right over my desk that had pictures of Europe all over it, a lot of London, and different places in Europe that I wanted to go. And I had a little picture of a duplex, that in Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
just thought it was cute, and I thought that would be really cool to have one of those. Why not? But I didn't even really focus on it. I just had no resistance to it. And I think that's what we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about here too, is removing the blocks, is removing that resistance. So I had no resistance to going to Europe. I was excited about it. I didn't worry about the cost. I didn't, it was stuff that I had been saving for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was like, when it happened, I was just ready to go. And so hence the last couple of years of my life have been traveling Europe, working in different parts of the world, and feeling free and being able to do that. Then pops up, this little duplex that I'm sitting in right now. And if I could show you the picture of the one that was on my vision board versus the one I bought, they are freakishly similar in color, everything. It is crazy. And when I show
Which
those
is so
pictures to people, they
crazy.
go, "What?" And it's just because I looked at it and I loved it and I felt no resistance to it, I think. I
Which
saw it
it's
happening.
so powerful how
Mhm.
that happened, right? Because
Mhm.
I remember talking about Charleston
Yes.
with you, and but it's interesting, right? So when we don't see how it's going to happen, right? So there, let's say Charleston, what? No,
Yes,
like
and I
right?
did
It's
say that for
because
a minute.
I know, but do you see why you said it though? Because in our brains, we are so used to relying on the fact that we have to see the way it unfolds in order to feel the feeling. What we're saying is don't resist and don't try to put a scenario to it. And if it doesn't make sense to you, it means it's not going to happen. It just means that you're
Right.
believing now that the universe has your back and it's conspiring for you and with you. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? And so I love that Charleston happened because what a great thing, because I'm not married to the idea when I say it. So sometimes what will happen to me, I've noticed, is I will allow people's energy to then shift me and get on their vibration, which is not right. I'm not supposed to
Right.
do that if I'm leading you through
Right.
a reading, right? But I think what happens is like we go on overload. You take it one manifestation at a time where it's
Mhm.
like I've always been taught where it's like, okay, so if you have to have the feeling, it's like that feeling when you go out into the car and you're like, fuck yeah, I nailed the interview and they offered me the job right then and there. Yeah! It's like just start feeling that kind
Yeah.
of things just for simple subtle things, right? And then you'll start noticing when you don't resist, things don't persist.
Mhm.
And so it's so powerful. I can't believe you didn't tell me that you had Charleston on that board.
Oh, yeah. It
Oh,
was
that's
sitting there. I'll send you the
amazing.
picture. You'll freak out. Because I didn't really think about
Wow.
it. Just in my mind, I just wanted a duplex, and that one was cute, so I put it up there. It didn't mean anything to me that it was in Charleston. So I was looking in
That is
London, I was looking all over the
amazing.
place, right? And
Uh-huh.
then you kept saying Charleston, and I was in London, and I'm thinking, well, how in the hell is that going to happen? I don't know, Dina. And I was sort of
Yeah.
pushing back on that, but I was open
Uh-huh.
to it. I wasn't resistant to it.
Uh-huh.
So then when it popped up, I went, oh shit.
Right? Well, and I'll give you an example. One of my clients, Amy, you know who you are, and I fucking love you. She's the goat I told you of. I want to have her on she's gonna get like the goat of marathons. So like this
Uh-huh.
is where she'll run Tokyo, and then it's called like the Abbey Award or something, where it's a big deal. She's
Hmm.
run 29 marathons
Hmm.
and she's 40 something. So the other day she said to me, Dina, and she, I guess, keeps tapes from years and years ago. So she said that I said something had happened, and I said with a guy or something, and I had said, and she was bummed he didn't call, and I go, "Oh, honey, he's not gonna call you," and I go, "Oh my god, I said it like that." Like how fucking
What a
rude!
bitch.
Like I'm so like right, and I'm like I thought, and she goes yeah, and
Uh,
she goes and you're laughing in the background. I'm like oh my god, what?
that sounds
But
about right.
right, but
I'm
the
just kidding.
way that she was saying that I said things, it sounded to me like I had more confidence.
Huh.
It sounded that I wasn't swayed by people's emotions
Oh,
and trying to then make
feeling
them
their
happy,
energy. Yeah.
right? So then, and then the things that she would say is like when she was dating three different Johns, that one of them she thought was her husband. I go, oh, yeah,
Johns.
that's not your John, it's another John, right?
Yeah.
But it's another John. And she said she was crying, and I was like, oh, I said it that harshly and that like direct. I think I missed that part of me
You have
because
been
with
harsh and
that
direct
part
with
of
me.
I know,
But it's
but that
always in a
this
way
was in
where I need to hear it. Like it's
yeah.
never,
I
no,
know, but
I've
this
never
was
been
from
angry at you for it.
2006.
Well,
No, so
sometimes
I
it's
was like,
like,
I know.
no, 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 I'm
But
not saying that's a bad thing. Girl, speak your mind. It's
no,
not,
no, but
no.
what I'm saying for me is I've started learning that I tend to cater too much to people's emotions
Hmm.
and then don't get out the information that's supposed to get out.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The direct information. So I guess how can I funnel being direct without being hurtful, right? And then you have to acclimate to. So
Hmm.
then therefore I have to make sure if I'm doing my job and I'm doing the right thing, I cannot then be going like, oh, well, wait,
Uh-huh.
I can't say that because I have to remove those blocks because those are going to get me to closer to where I need to go.
Yeah. That's a
I can't believe
skill.
I'm so direct all
That's a
the
skill.
time. I
Why do you
really
think that's
work
a
on
bad
that.
thing? I think that's a beautiful thing. Well, it's
I,
not like you're doing it with ill intent. I can always tell
mm-hmm.
when you're saying something, it's just like, it's like a truth bomb, you know?
Yeah.
And I've been
Yeah.
accused of
And
the same thing, and maybe that's why it works for
mhm.
me. It's like I've been told before that I am, how did they say it? Shit, I forget how it was, but it was like very harsh and direct.
Well, I
And
was
I
saying
try
to
not to be,
somebody,
but sometimes it
but I
just,
was saying to
mm.
somebody, you were somebody that I actually hear. Do
Uh-huh.
you understand what I mean by that? Like,
Uh-huh.
you will say things that will jolt my core. And I may have heard it many times from many other people, but for some reason with you, I rise to the occasion and I show up not only for myself, but to it's not an expectation. I hold myself to the level that I know you hold me in,
Mm, mm-hmm.
that you hold me in my potential,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, I
you
feel
see
the
my
same.
potential, and exactly.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult at times, and it can
Yeah.
be very it's a lot of work, meaning that I always have to show up. And sometimes I don't want to fucking show up,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
then there's a friend going, here
Yeah.
we go, right? And I think that that's incredible. So
Yeah.
I think that if we always get sidetracked with the things, but I think it's
No, I'm
important because
grateful to have a
no, I
friendship like
think it's
that.
yeah, but I think it's important with people knowing that we all have different ways of going about getting to where we want to go, and we've
Mm-hmm.
all had different experiences, and we all have certain friends, where your parents go, I've told you that a million times, and they tell you once and you're gonna listen. Like they get so pissed,
Yes.
right? And it's just, I think sometimes it's the way somebody says things in the tone they say it, and maybe you're ready to receive it. And so you've been there for some of my huge life changing moments where I've made really big decisions, which
Mm-hmm.
is like huge. And I'm grateful for that. And that got me
Mm-hmm.
closer to my dream here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all you said to me was pick a date.
Yep.
And I was like, I was in the hospital and I was having
Yep.
issues with my husband. And I'm like, "Ah, bitch, I'm in a hospital gown." And you're like, I'm going to pull Adina on Adina. And I was like, motherfucker. And so I was like, fine, September 20th. And then I
Yep.
moved the 19th just to beat it. But if you hadn't done that in that moment, I probably still would have been living with my ex.
Yeah. A dream without a deadline is not a goal. It's
Right?
just a
A
dream.
goal, exactly. A goal without a deadline is just a
A goal
dream.
without a deadline is just a dream. Whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's so, you use that on me too. And it's
Yeah.
so true, right?
Yeah.
But we have to find ways, literally. So we seek support, we create a plan, we take action, we stay positive, maintaining a positive attitude, focusing on our goals and our keys. Remember that, these removing blocks to your dreams is a journey and it may take some time, but if you think about it, with persistence, determination, your eye on the prize, there isn't anything we can't do when we know we really want something. So
Right.
I always remember what I'm fucking capable of when I moved within 3 weeks in a foreign country to a city with no one because I had no blinders on and I had no choice. So
Right.
we can get shit done when we really need to and when we really want to.
Yes.
And we don't think about the yeah buts, the what ifs, that they all just fell into place. What we're saying is, I was thinking about this because we wanted to see how what we can call our online family. So today I was thinking of what if we were a subtle and profound crew, meaning
Subtle.
subtle change, profound impact. So
Oh, you mean like all
my
of us? The subtle,
yes,
profound
like all
crew?
of us, yes, because we approach things subtly that will give us profound impact. So we're not about balls to the wall every day, be spiritual, remove your blocks. No, it's more about what works for your life that you could easily sort of go in and out,
Yep.
apply it to you, apply it to whatever it is you're doing, take away something here, add something there, and then eventually one day you fucking wake up and you're a guru. You're like, what the fuck? How did this happen? Oh my God, it's amazing, right? And
Well,
so
I love it.
all
It doesn't
this
roll off the tongue like lifers.
Oh yeah, there you go. The lifers, it just sounds like a prison
It
sentence to
sounds
me, and
like a
that's
fucking prison sentence.
it.
Anyway,
Sound it's like
we're trying to
yeah.
find a little name for everyone. Yes, and it's just like whatever. Sidebar.
Uh,
Um,
well, I know you can
yeah.
edit that out, but
Well, I
lifer
wanted to add
sounds
one
yes.
thing before we move forward to that is
Okay,
that
cool.
back to the doing the work to get to your goals and whatnot and setting deadlines and
Mhm.
whatnot. I have been tripped up before, spiritual
Mhm.
people, manifesting, in the term manifesting, thinking that if I
Mhm.
just sit there and think about it and see it and feel it, it's just going to show up for me. I have learned that that is not how that works. The hard way, several times. So, yes, see it, visualize it, feel it, do the fucking work. Start putting it in,
Yes.
and then I believe the universe will rise to meet you with where you are. The road rises to meet you. But
Well, you
do
act
not
as
get
though
tripped
you
up the
already
way I
have
did.
it.
What?
Well, how did you get tripped up? Give us an example.
Oh, so many times of just like waiting too long, I think, of
Mhm.
I feel like something's going to happen and I'll sit in it and I'll wait and I'll wait and I'll wait and it doesn't happen. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? I thought this manifesting thing was like, we sit here and we
Mhm.
imagine it and then it comes to life and working smarter, not harder. So
Right?
hashtag
That's
smarter, not
amazing.
harder. Hashtag manifesting. But no, you still have to do the work. So
Yeah.
just
And the
saying.
work is the internal work, yeah? Like
Uh,
the internal, when you say do
it
the
is
work,
both.
what does that mean for
It
you?
is the physical work too. If you have a dream, a
Mhm.
goal without a deadline,
Mhm.
again,
Mhm.
just a dream. So put it on the calendar. Put down the steps on your calendar that you are going to physically take to get there. As you start doing these physical steps, then I feel like all of a sudden miraculous things start to show up for you. People come into your life that you meet that you didn't expect to meet, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I'm saying. Does that
Yeah,
make
and that's
sense?
also totally. And that's also, if people need to realize too, manifesting, you also have to be willing to do the work it's going to
Yes,
take.
exactly. Like just assume you go into the deadline and then you may be
Mhm.
surprised that you get some helpful things along the way.
Yes, like
But
I like let's just say hypothetically, I want to manifest the perfect body. The universe isn't going to give me that without putting in the work.
absolutely. Great segue,
So,
Dina.
right?
So, talk to us about what you've been doing to manifest that perfect body.
Oh, girl. Okay. So, we wanted to share with everyone that
Yeah.
we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. And we do apply many things to our lives. And I am always trying new things every day. So, since 2018, I have released, I'm at 67 pounds. And so, what I've been doing,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm allowing myself for the first time ever to be thin without gaslighting myself and making it about vanity. And I'm still figuring out what a healthy thin person looks like and feels like and acts like. And I'm discovering it as an older person, but I like simple ingredients. I have a lot of food allergies. I cannot get too elaborate. So I've been baking, and my new discovery, I'm obsessed. You're going to be obsessed because I'm vegan, gluten free, and chickpeas as chicken salad. So you take a fork and
Mhm.
you fork it and you mash it, but all the things you would put into your chicken salad or tuna
Mhm.
salad,
Mhm.
your vegan mayo, your pickles, your everything, into that. And then I've been doing it on a wrap, and it's
Ooh,
delicious.
yum.
I swear it tastes like chicken salad.
Yeah, I've been getting
It's
into
so
some
good.
wraps lately too, and
So I just do all these little simple things instead of being like, it's so hard to cook or it's so hard to cook out. No, it's not. It's the mindset. It really is. Like, I had heard someone on an app or something say about us ADHDers, because how you, when you go to the refrigerator, you're looking for dopamine. So
mhm.
ask yourself, are you hungry? And then I'm like, am I hungry? Yes, I am. Are you hungry enough to just eat an apple? No, I'm not that hungry. Thank you. Goodbye. And then I'm learning all of these little things. So you and I have done these 3 ingredient, the cookies with the cup of oats, the 2 smashed bananas, and the
They're
chocolate chips.
amazing.
But what I do now is I add protein powder to them
Oh, I
so
add
that
so
I
much
get.
stuff to them.
What
They
do you
can be
add?
3 ingredients, but they can be whatever you want, right?
Uh
I add
huh.
chia
Totally.
seeds, peanut butter,
Oh, me too.
or
Flax.
almond butter. I add flaxseed. I add protein powder. Um, God, I don't know. I change it up. Sometimes I put
Uh-huh.
nuts in there depending on how I'm feeling. Cacao nibs, for sure, cacao nibs. I
Yes.
try to do more cacao than chocolate because I'll do the dark chocolate chips in there, but I try to do
Uh-huh.
if I can find them. I can't find cacao nibs here as easily.
Oh yeah, I
Because
love
it gives
cacao
you a
nibs.
little bit of that chocolate flavor without all that sugar.
Totally.
And the
Totally.
bananas
And
are already pretty naturally sweet anyway.
yeah, I don't add any like sweetener. I kind
Yeah.
of like things to taste like a hockey puck
Oh.
because I'm used to that in California where it's like when I grew up,
What?
Melba toast
Girl.
and cottage cheese. And it's
No.
like has no flavor.
No.
Rice cakes, but
Mm-mm.
as we get older, I'm learning so much, right? And so I'm trying to think what I ate today. I do the cold oats overnight, so that's already done in the
Uh-huh.
fridge. And then I've been doing that salad. I get stuck on something and then I'll eat it for like a week until I'm so sick of it that I will move on because it's just easier. That's the way my brain works. But every day too, when I walk, I assign an audible or a podcast. That's when I learn to get my information in, so that
Yes.
that's part of
Me
my
too.
exercises also become a part of my spiritual
Me
practice.
too. Me too. I love
And
that. I
so
like to listen to
other
stuff while
things
I
like
walk.
totally, like all the subtle changes that I do is I just have certain rules for me now is that I never go to bed with dishes in the sink. It's
Mm-hmm.
just something that
Yeah.
makes me feel better when I wake up. And I've noticed that it bothers me, but it's subtle. I don't have to clean the whole house, but usually I avoid the whole house because they just mess up one room. Right. But I know myself and how I work now. So
Mm-hmm.
I know how to navigate through my brain because I've found so many incredible things about myself, about the neurodivergence and everything. So for me, I always get confused when people say they want to know and they want to do better, but then they don't want to go do all the work or seek the information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, so then for me, I used to take that on as my job to help them get to their dream without realizing that detoured me away from
Mm-hmm.
my stuff, and then I would get resentful, right? So now I'm just learning to leave people where they are, meet them where they're at,
Mm-hmm.
right? Add a few little sparkles and have some yummy, and then I go back to where I like tonight. I will meal prep. I've been thinking of ways. I bought. Have you heard of this sweet potato powder? Like so, instead it's like in polvere. The Italian word is the like in powder. So um,
Pulverized.
yeah. So I'm now they suggest using it like breadcrumbs. So I've been doing zucchini in the air fryer and I've been doing other things just in ways to
Yeah,
get
air fryer's
other.
great.
I'm
Air
obsessed.
fryer
Isn't
is
it
so
good? Do you
great.
love
Thank you for
it?
that suggestion. Well,
You're
you've given me
welcome.
so many. Like there's a reason we're telling y'all all this about the food too, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, when I started doing this too, and I wanted to start just eating a little bit healthier, and I wanted easy healthy recipes. You gave me the breakfast cookies, I call them, and I've been
Uh-huh.
sharing them with my family and with my friends, and I don't think I've given them to anybody that didn't love them. They're so
Yes.
easy, and they're such a great little grab and go protein bite, right?
Uh-huh.
So they're great. But
Yes.
you've told me about the air fryer. You've given me so many great ideas, and I
Because
know that for a while you wanted to start your own like little cooking
yes.
segment or
Uh-huh.
something. So we
I
have a
did.
surprise for y'all. We are going to start towards the end of each episode, like just doing a quick little healthy vegan food segment.
Gluten free.
Gluten
Yes.
free, because I am not full vegan yet. I feel like I'm sort of leaning that
I
way, but
think
if
you're leaning really into it and I'm really impressed actually.
thank you. Well, I'm
You're
trying,
welcome.
and like, so if you're trying to practice like meatless Mondays, stuff like that, if you're just trying to get a little bit healthier, or you feel like I do about animals, or whatever your reasons may be, and you want to try it with us, we're trying to make it easier for you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Yes.
Dina, you just
Be-
have such great ideas and recipes. So, thank you
Thank
for sharing
you.
them, and I can't wait to try them with you. And of course, we're going to make it ridiculous and fun and silly because that's who we are. But
Totally. And also too with
they
the
ain't all gonna
eating with
taste good, I'm sure, but we'll get to
it's
that
an
point. We'll find
acquired
out.
taste, but no, the thing
I
I
don't eat
love about
cardboard.
me well, listen, I can make
I ain't
cardboard
gonna
taste
do it.
good. The thing I
No.
love about me is that I won't sit and wait on something. I will
Mhm.
try it right away.
Yeah.
And so that's why, do you know how many friends send me recipes and go, let me know, because I know you'll try it
Ah,
first. And let me know if it's good and then
ooh,
I'll do
good.
it. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, I do
bitch.
that to you
But
because you'll send one to me and I'll go, "Have you made it yet?" Because if it sounds weird, I'm like, "I don't
uh-huh.
know. I don't know." So,
Well, because I think we all get tripped up. And then also, too, is like in LA, like all that healthy food was so expensive that
mhm,
I was saying to somebody yesterday, I couldn't afford to eat the way
right.
I do if I still lived in LA. I'm gluten free, not out
Uh,
of choice, out of necessity for my health, for autoimmune, for inflammation. My body just does not tolerate it. I'm also vegan because of, I've been vegetarian since I'm 20, but vegan because of this is how my body so much is sensitive and doesn't want anything. I was going to go in there and nail those blood tests. That shit came back with high cholesterol. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't eat anything.
some of
Yeah,
that's
well, it turns
hereditary
out
too.
it also turns out that those gluten-free crackers and that gluten-free bread and those gluten-free cornflakes are all hitting the cholesterol.
Rice.
And it's like,
See,
so
you
I'm
have to
like,
be careful. I found that out too because I
mm-hmm,
try to be gluten free as much as possible because I have thyroid
mm-hmm.
nodules. So my doctor has told me forever, like, stay off the gluten as much as possible. And then, certain things now I'm noticing sugar is starting to hit me differently. I break out so fast if I have too much sugar. Like, it looks like I have hives on my face in the morning. And I'm like, what in the heck?
It's happening to me with chocolate. What the fuck?
Ooh, no, I'm going to
And so
draw the line.
but girl,
I'm
I
going to
get
draw the line.
nauseous, but I think this is what's happening, how spiritually and when we're growing and we're having more of awakening, our body wants less crap.
I agree
And
with
then
that.
therefore it's
Yeah.
literally my body is rejecting shit. How the
I have
fuck can
found
you
that
say
too. It's like the cleaner
that
you eat, the more something
yes,
foreign comes in that your body goes, we ain't having that.
mm-mm,
Uh-uh.
no, and
We're
it
used to healthy
literally
stuff now.
totally. And so for
Yeah.
me, how is it
Damn
that
it.
I have 28 food allergies? I can't eat gluten. I'm in Italy, for God's sakes,
Right.
and I can't drink wine, eat cheese, eat gluten. What the fuck? Like, this is like, it just
Well, how
seems
does
not
air
fair, but
taste?
it's so good. I was telling someone yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I just eat air. It's amazing.
Oh my God, best diet ever.
Best ever. And it's so cheap.
Yeah. Anyway, no, but
But
regarding
it's a
the,
mindset.
yes,
You
but
know, my mind just gets used to it and I'm okay with it. Sorry.
yes, no. And the point being that, and I don't think this has anything to do with California anymore because food prices have gotten high everywhere. But I have
Ah.
found now when I go out to eat, this is so great now that I am vegetarian slash pescatarian. I'm getting there. Dina's pulling me in, y'all. But
Mhm.
anyway, when I go out to eat now, because I'm vegetarian and because I don't drink, my checks for going to expensive restaurants are like under
Oh.
$50 with tip. It's
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
And I go with people and
Yeah.
they're like, theirs is 150 a person because they're
That
having
is
two or three drinks
crazy.
and they're having meat. And just the price difference is like, that's a huge reason to do it if nothing else.
Huge
Shit.
reason.
I mean, it's
Huge
amazing.
reason.
But
Well, they say in the books that I've been reading and things, right? And not to get too deep into it,
Mhm.
but kind of freaked me out. But then it made so much sense why I stopped eating meat at such a young age. Is that they say that you ingest the feeling that the animal felt before it had, right? And so for me, I'm like,
Yeah.
and everything in my body just sort of goes like this. But I think and feel intuitively, we're all going to have to get used to not having meat or fish anyway because it's not sustainable long term on the climate.
I
And
agree.
so
I'm
I
trying to
think
wean
that,
myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
so just leaning in and doing what's best for you, your family. If we lean in now, it won't be so severe later, right?
Right.
And you're going to be like, oh, I'm used to not having that. I'm already full into, you know what I mean? Like it
And
doesn't
listen,
affect me.
I'm in the South. I'm in fried and meat and seafood
Oh,
capital, and you're in Italy and gluten
uh-huh.
capital and everything, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I feel like if we can figure it out and make it fun and make the
Mm-hmm.
recipes taste good, because,
Mm-hmm.
we all want stuff that's like easy, it tastes good.
Not processed,
Yeah, healthy,
simple,
healthy, healthy, and
very
and
few
and there's
ingredients.
a lot of things that are gluten free or vegan that aren't healthy, y'all. There's a lot
A
out there.
lot.
So I would say we can have a little bit of that, sure. Let's find some of those too, just for fun. But I think the focus that we're trying to go for is making them healthy too, right? Because it's
For
not good to
sure.
substitute everything with gluten-free rice-based
And I just
flour
found
and
out
then
the hard
develop an
way.
allergy to the rice, or your sugar spikes if you're diabetic. You can't have rice. Like, you have to figure
Mm-mm.
out what works for you, and there's 100 different gluten-free flours out there now. So there will be one that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's chickpea flour, there's oat flour, there's, I don't know, the list
Mm-hmm.
goes on. Almond flour,
Yeah. I use
goes on
oat
and
flour.
on.
Oh, I just make my own oat flour. I just put the oats in the Cuisinart.
I don't have a
That's it.
Cuisinart. That's the other
You
thing. So
don't?
I don't have a fancy kitchen. So when I'm making these
Yeah.
things, y'all, it's gonna be real straightforward. We're
So
not
you're
getting
gonna see the
fancy.
the Dina fancy, simple, fancy Italian way and the Ashley simple Charleston way. But I think if she can do it there and I could do it here, you could do it anywhere.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah, 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 yeah. So that'll be
Mm-hmm.
fun. I look forward to doing that with you and starting some of
Yeah,
those. Pepper
me
those
too,
into the
because
episodes.
I love when I get a good recipe and I love when we share and we don't gatekeep. And I love things that make it easier to be who you want to be. And it just sort of fits right in and it's
Yeah.
just the go tos.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Happy to. And then
Yeah,
we'll
I love
also,
that.
put the recipes in the show notes so you guys can try them if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Just something we thought would be fun, but would love to hear your
Yay.
feedback on stuff as we go on and what you guys think of those. So, okay, so just to wrap up, how to remove the blocks to your dreams. I guess the final
Mm-hmm.
thing I would say that I would love to hear your thoughts on is being aligned with your dreams. And I think that's some of what we've covered already, is just to make sure that you're aligned with them. And when I say that, I mean doing the things that we talked about, putting the deadlines, putting the work on the calendar,
Yes. And also, are you being
actively working towards
realistic?
it. Right.
Yes. Are you being persistent? Do you have your determination? Are you overcoming your obstacles? Are you achieving little goals along the way? Are you
Yes.
setting little goals for yourself along the way?
And
Are you
celebrating along the way.
Yes, are you talking to yourself kindly along the way?
Yes.
So I had heard a quote recently that said, who you are now is who the child you feel safe with. And I was like, fuck
Say
yeah,
that
I would
again.
feel safe with me. So who you are now as a person,
Uh-huh.
the child in you
Would feel
is the person
safe
you,
with.
yes.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
And
like
I
that.
love that
Yeah,
about myself,
totally.
meaning that I feel safe with myself. I know I'm going to protect myself. I know I'm not going to lead us down a wrong path. I know. So, and then I add upon that with building blocks. Now,
Hmm.
if you're someone who's really learning now to trust yourself, have confidence, that takes a little bit longer, but what kind of action are you taking? What are the most important steps to start first? Don't start too big so it's unrealistic. Like, just make sure that your path is, yeah, it will be uncomfortable and you have to learn to push through sometimes that uncomfortable stuff because a
Yes.
lot of us will stop when it gets uncomfortable.
Right. And just to
And
clarify, because I get thrown when you say there's removing the blocks and then there's building blocks. So Dina
oh,
was doing a
sorry,
little
but
bit of a
I'm
play on
like,
words. So when you say blocks, my head's going this way. I'm
no, my
sorry.
blocks is meaning is like
Building blocks. You're talking
I
about building
building
blocks
blocks. Sorry.
to
Yes,
your
yes, yes, yes.
dreams. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And
Yes.
so I just feel it's so important that you have to have a plan in your head, not of how you see it going exactly, but it's kind of like, when you drive to someone's house, you're like, you don't need to turn on the navigation yet because I know where I'm going and then I'll tell you when I don't. It's
Uh-huh.
kind of like the same for this. It's like you get your sea legs. You know what you're supposed to do to get yourself going. You know yourself well enough to know what it's going to take to motivate you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you start to apply the other stuff and then get in line with yourself and do all of that and stay consistent. And I always think, because I have Ashley, thank God, but getting a buddy
Sorry.
to be, yeah, but getting a buddy to be accountable to has been life-saving for me.
Oh, same for me. I love having
Yeah.
you as my
So,
accountability partner. So that's
yeah.
a great thing, y'all. If you
Yeah.
get somebody that will do that, that you can check in with. Dina and I check in literally every day, even
We
if it's
send each
something
other
as
our steps.
our
And so
steps.
we don't justify why we aren't where we
Nope.
are. We just show up. That's the most
Yep.
important.
So if I'm only doing 400 steps and I'm supposed to be doing 2,000 or 10,000, I know that Dina's going to see 'em.
Yes, and you know what kicked me? Do you remember what kicked me? I remember it was April. I was at 191 and I was so frustrated with myself. And you had said to me, and you go, I love you, but the last couple of days your steps were at like 2,000. Is there something you want to do or do you want to talk about? And I literally kicked my own butt. And I was like, that's it. It's on. And it only just took
don't
you
remember that,
holding
but
me accountable
yeah.
in that space.
Yeah.
And then boom, here I am 37 pounds less.
Yay! I love
Right?
that.
But this is what happens when you show up for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because you didn't do it for
You
me.
gotta
You could give a
start-
rat's
no.
ass what I think.
Totally, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Because when you start somewhere and you start showing up means that you have to start being accountable.
That's right.
If you don't start, you're not accountable, then you're
Yeah.
just gaslighting yourself, and you know that it's there, and eventually you're going to start. And so if you gaslight yourself enough, then you feel good enough to relax for the night and then start gaslighting yourself again tomorrow.
Yeah. And I would say you and I also hold each other accountable because of this damn podcast. It's like, there's no getting away.
No, really, this podcast wasn't supposed to be a podcast. It's supposed to be a show, but I was like, no, we
Yeah.
just got to start talking.
Yeah.
We just have to start talking
Yep.
and helping and contributing.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway.
So
yes.
thank you, Ashley, for being everyone's guinea
Tina.
pig.
I'm going to put somebody else's picture on the back of this mug next week.
Oh my God, that's so cute. What mug
you
is
don't
that?
have
How
that?
come I don't have that?
Oh, shit.
Bitch.
Why didn't you put our
What?
picture on the back of yours?
You didn't tell me to. When you told me, you just go put right, and then you did.
Some of us are crafty. I don't know. Some of us got skills.
There we go, girl. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I love you.
All right. I love you too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Okay, ciao.
Join us here each week as we unpack life in the new normal with a new hashtag Subtle Change Profound Impact from Coach Dina. To get a little daily inspirational message in your social feed, follow us on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Copyright 2020 Angel Baby Films, all rights reserved.